I told everybody as soon as they announced Venu, that would never happen. It would probably never going to happen because at the same time, Disney was talking about doing their own ESPN service and Venu, which was confusing. So you can buy ESPN for $50 a month, or you can get Venu and get Fox and Warner Brothers too for the same $50 a month. Why would I buy ESPN? So none of this made sense. This was all this typical old school pie in the sky bull crap. Bob Iger slinging poop and spaghetti against the wall just to see if something would stick.
Bob, now that DirecTV and Comcast have launched their skinnier bundles and Hulu Live, Fubo planning their own, do you expect these skinnier bundles at current pricing to change the trajectory of cord cutting? And if not, what else on the pricing or product side do you plan with Fubo that you couldn't accomplish with just Hulu Live? And then if I could just take a step back, after the Fubo deal and shutting down Venu, can you discuss Disney's overall sports or broader streaming strategy with the potential for consumer confusion from all the different options, including the upcoming ESPN flagship launch?
By the way,
Thank you.
who told you Venu was going to crash the day it was announced?
As it relates to ESPN, is to make ESPN as accessible as possible and in as many ways as possible to the consumer. Some will want to consume it just through an app. Some will want to consume it as part of I'll call the more traditional expanded basic bundle. Some will migrate in the direction of skinnier bundles or sports bundles only. I can't predict whether the emergence of these skinnier bundles is going to have a material impact on cord cutting or not, except to say that we plan to take advantage of the emergence of these bundles because it is a great way to distribute ESPN. And look, what essentially happened is after the decision was made and we started to implement the launch of Venu, the emergence of these skinnier bundles surfaced, and Venu basically looked redundant to us. And so this was a great opportunity for us to make ESPN available to multiple skinny bundles, and then to actually merge the Hulu Live and the Fubo essentially channel business as one, because frankly, while we liked being in that business, it wasn't a core business to Hulu. This gives us the ability to actually enhance the Hulu Live experience because the combined entity, when it's approved, will spend more time, put more resources into the user interface, and essentially making the former Hulu Live experience better for consumers.
That answer is so full of crap.
Strategy, I've touched on some of it, and that is make ESPN available however the consumer wants it, wherever the consumer wants it. Some will want to consume it as part of a linear channel, but we're obviously leaning into the development of what is now called flagship, which is essentially ESPN with multiple elements to it, or multiple essentially enhancens, and of course the inclusion
not helping the confusion issue
of some form of betting and fantasy and a high degree of customization and personalization, and essentially a much bigger offering in terms of product programming than the linear channels currently offer. The plan will be to launch it sometime toward in the fall of this year, and we're actually quite excited about it because, first of all, it gives us an opportunity to bundle it with Disney Plus and Hulu, and then we will get really smart and strategic about pricing there. But it gives consumers the option of basically just staying in a sports-only experience or combining it with their other services. And if they happen to subscribe to Disney Plus and Hulu, then they can experience ESPN flagship in a one-app experience, which will be both convenient from a subscription perspective and also convenient from a user perspective.
People that watch Disney Plus are not watching ESPN,
the other thing I want
and
to
vice
mention
versa.
about ESPN, because I know that other streamers are getting into the sports game.
There's almost no overlap.
We have the advantage of not only a menu of sports and sports programming that no one else has, but we're on 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. So if you're a sports fan, it's not about
Nobody
one day
watches
of one boxing event or one day of football. It's about sports every single day of the year
That's
and
a
every
shot
hour
at
of the
Netflix
day.
to
And that's a
attack
pretty
Netflix.
compelling. That's a pretty compelling consumer proposition.
And, as far as the Venu thing, let me since I mentioned this earlier, I wanted to explain this. When Disney and Fox and Warner Brothers came out and said, we're going to make a streaming sports conglomerate, and we're going to sell it for whatever it was, $40 a month was the speculated
introductory price.
Introductory price, right? So you're going to have Fox, Warner Brothers, and ESPN effectively, and ABC, Disney. But not included in that was NBC or CBS, Paramount. So Universal, Paramount weren't included in that. You'd have half the NFL in there, half of it not. And then you had Warner Brothers lose the NBA contract, which is one of the biggest things that Warner Brothers has in terms of live sports. Even before Warner Brothers let that go, I said, I don't see this going anywhere because Fubo's out there. They're supposed to be they're supposed to be the exclusive streamer, or one of the exclusive streamers for sports, where they can collect everything. That was the deal. Of course, Fubo filed against Disney. I told everybody as soon as they announced Venu, that would never happen. It would probably never going to happen because at the same time, Disney was talking about doing their own ESPN service and Venu, which was confusing. So you can buy ESPN for $50 a month, or you can get Venu and get Fox and Warner Brothers too for the same $50 a month. Why would I buy ESPN? So none of this made sense. This was all this typical old school pie in the sky bull crap. Bob Iger slinging poop and spaghetti against the wall just to see if something would stick.
Well, and we wouldn't know except for reading the court filings that I think it was Bob Iger testified in court that Venu was only supposed to last 9 years. And then Fox revealed that they thought the service would only have 5 million subscribers after 5 years, which is, I mean, so they're gonna split 800 million between the three companies. It would have no exclusive content, and there was no reduction of ads for paying $40 a month for it, and it didn't include all the sports content. So this was very much something to get Nelson Peltz off of Disney's back.
That was it. That's exactly right, Jonas. It was. And again, investors, they keep falling for this. I mean, Bob Iger can smear poop on your windshield, and people look at it and they just keep looking right through it. And it happens again and again and again on these earnings calls. And this whole issue with Venu that was never going to come to fruition. Fubo, Disney always had something in their back pocket. Now they made this deal with Fubo. They probably did it. It would not at all surprise me if it was done behind the backs of Fox and Warner Brothers. And because it was right after the announcement that Fubo had dismissed their case, their lawsuit against Venu, and then formed a partnership with Disney and ESPN. And then 2 days later, the announcement that Venu was done, over.
So I will throw in a little extra data.
Disney screwed everybody else. I'm just telling you right now.
So the termination fee, if the Fubo plus Hulu with live TV deal doesn't go through, Fubo, the termination fee towards Fubo will be paid by Fox and Warner Brothers as well as Disney. And Fox and Warner Brothers have to secure financing, even though this doesn't benefit them in any specific way here. So it is a mess. And it's, by the way, it's licensing of Hulu with live TV to Fubo, not the other way around. So they're basically paying, they're going to have the financial control. Fubo technically has the management, but Disney owns the board. And Fox and Warner Brothers, this is art of the deal stuff.
They're basically out. Yeah, they're basically out.
Can they sue?
Fubo cannot sue. This is part of the settlement. So, and Fox and Warner Brothers signed off on it. So there's no cartel litigation here. And honestly, if they had been sued in court over it, it would have ruined the cable environment altogether for everybody, which is another reason that Disney wanted this thing gone.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.